So, welcome to Finland. Okay, we're off again. Let's see if we can find some off-piste routes, because I have noticed the off-piste routes here are quite sketchy. So in this video I will go over 6 key points of what to know if you go to Lapland in Finland. So we start with 6 things, and the main thing we would start with is of course everything related to hotel and how you can stay there. The second thing is everything related to transport and the flights and how much that would cost. The third thing we did was doing a Husky ride, which was very fun. The fourth thing we did, which also is a very typical thing to do, is the reindeer run, which is also quite fun, and I can give some tips on that. And the last 2 things are of course snowboarding, which was amazing in Levi, and the northern light. So I will give you some tips on how and when to see the northern light. So let's start with the hotel and the stays we got. So we booked quite late, so that means that our hotel was quite expensive, and even so we could not really find too much options. So what I did was I found an Airbnb for around 150 euros a night for 2 nights, and then I also found a hotel which still provided some decent prices, and that decent price was 200 euros a night, which was quite a good location. Both of them are not uber luxury or anything like that. It was, in my opinion, probably one of the lowest prices we could find for booking only a couple of months in advance, because Levi, where we were going, is quite busy, and there's not too many accommodations for people to stay, especially if it is this December period which we were going into, which is one of the most busy periods to go there. So as I said, we went to Levi, and there's quite an easy flight from Helsinki to go there, and I think we paid around 150 euros for the flight to Levi. We also could find cheaper, more expensive flights with luggage included, so depending on what kind of combination you have, it could go up, I guess, to around 200 euro. And obviously it's a going and a return, so I think also the return was around 100 or something euros. So take into consideration that you will per person pay around 200 to 300 euros to fly back and forth. There's also a train which we did not do, but that train takes around 8 hours, where we took a flight which took around 1 or 2 hours, which is quite fast. Then of course the next thing we need to discuss is the Husky ride, which is quite fun. And one thing we realized afterwards when talking to some locals is that Huskies, and especially also the Huskies used to ride with the sleigh, are also mixed breeds in most of the cases. So you will have a mix between original Siberian Huskies with some more local dogs there, and those more local dogs are also way stronger and are preferred riders for the sleighs. But they are as fun as you want. If you really want the white skin of fur with the blue eyes dogs for the pictures, then you maybe need to find a bit more to find that specific dog shelter or place that provides those dogs. I didn't mind it, and we also again were a bit on a budget, so we paid around 100 euro per person for this activity. Secondly, with the same company, actually, probably also because it's a bit more cheaper company, at least the quality was quite good, but probably it was a less let's say private experience, whereas other companies probably provide way more private experiences. But nevertheless, we paid around 100 euros for the reindeer experience, which was also quite short. You do get, for each of these experiences, you do get some drink, some cranberry drink, and some kind of cookies, and you do get a little fire experience. But overall the experience takes maybe 1 or 2 hours, which is quite short, but that's quite enough for an experience like this if you pay 100 euros per person. So the reindeer ride was quite fun. It was not really a ride, it was more a walk, where we were in a group of maybe 10 people with 10 different reindeers, and they really respect the animals. So that's one thing I really liked a lot. So they really emphasize the fact that you cannot scream and that you cannot be loud and that you cannot touch these reindeers, because these reindeers are really living most of the year in private, so they are not interacting most of the year with people, so they are quite scared, and you can really immediately notice that they are not used to humans at all, so they are not really that chill. Some animals will have different personalities, they explain, so some will be more relaxed than others, but for example the white one I had was quite scared of me, so I tried not to scare him at all, so that's an important thing to note. Then next activity we did was snowboarding or skiing in Levi. So Levi is situated in Lapland, but also gives you one of the bigger areas for snowboarding and skiing. Obviously, if you go in December, you will have maybe 1 or 2 hours of somewhat sunlight, which is not really sunlight, but you do have some kind of, let's say, sunrise and sunset within that 2-hour window, but the sun doesn't go high up above the horizon, it stays on the horizon, which creates some kind of continuous sunrise and sunset, which a lot of people would love to see, which is quite fun to know. So obviously skiing, if you like skiing, it's quite good. Also the prices range for around 50 euro a day or something, and for a couple of days you will pay a bit less per day because you have a combination ticket. Also the materials were quite flexible, you could even rent for 3 hours, which is also something I have not seen before in too many European resorts, where you can really have short-term rental, which is very nice if you are on budget again. So I think we paid in the end around 150 euros per person for a bit of a ski experience, and I would definitely recommend it. It's not too big of an area, so it's only like 40 kilometers of ski runs, but still it was quite fun, especially if there's enough powder snow to enjoy the slopes. And then last but not least, did we see the northern lights? Yes, so this year in 2024, 2025, and also the year after, they predict and they said that northern light placement and the amount of northern lights you could see was quite high. So the amount and the chances of seeing one was quite high. So because we were quite in the north of this country in Lapland and Levi, your chances are also quite good. Obviously in December you will have quite a lot of snowfall, and also in January, so the likeliness of seeing the northern lights is honestly quite low. So we were quite lucky that in the 3 days we had quite good weather, and also the chances, the KP index was also quite high, so around 4 or 5. So that was quite nice. So we did see the northern lights. One time we saw it just by going to a lake, which I can point out here, where you can just go in a very broad lake where you have the option to see it if it appears. And then we also booked a €100 night trip to see the aurora lights, northern lights, and we also did that. We also had the option, if we did not see them, we could also take a sauna or do some snowmobiling. So that was quite fun that they prepared different alternatives for us to do this exercise or this trip. So that was very nice to do, and that was also the end of our end-to-end ultimate Lapland trip with the key activities and things to know if you go to Lapland. So thank you so much for watching. If you do enjoy my channel and the information I provide, I'm uploading more and more videos, so feel free to have a look, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.